What fictional character do you feel bad for the most? Any character that loses their glasses, then while they are crawling on the ground looking for them, the glasses get broken. I have no idea why, but that moment always makes me feel worse than most other things. Why is everyone so mean to Charlie Brown? Also, Courage the Cowardly Dog had to put up with a lot of BS. The girl squirrel from the Sword in the Stone animated film. If you haven't seen it, the protagonist Arthur gets magically turned into a squirrel and a girl squirrel falls in love with him. When Arthur got turned back into a human and left her all heartbroken and crying, it genuinely upset me. As a young kid, it was one of my first experiences of feeling real pity, and it's stuck with me ever since. It wouldn't have hit as hard if Merlin didn't note that they pick a mate for life. So a little boy's training lesson left that girl squirrel to be heartbroken for the rest of her life. The kid's like 12. How long do squirrels live anyway? Get the hell back in the tree and live a happy life with that girl squirrel, damn it. King of England can wait a few years. Squirrels can live like 20 years, so that's a hefty commitment just for pity's sake. Then again, he's English, so I'm surprised he didn't just commit to it out of fear of the social awkwardness caused by the reveal that he's a human, not a squirrel. Shrug, oh well, guess I'm a squirrel now. Even M. Lichman can't just duck a squirrel out of politeness for 20 years. The Little Match Girl. She is homeless, starving, freezing, and lonely, then she dies. My mom thought that it was too sad, so when she would tell me the story, she'd change the ending and tell that just as her last match was about to go out, a woman saw the girl, took her home, gave her a nice bath in a room, and adopted her. Years later, when I was old enough, she told me the actual ending and that she had changed it on purpose. Goofy. I'm sure anyone around 30 or so who has seen the Goofy movie understands exactly what I mean. Oof. Yet that was rough. He just wanted to spend time with Max. NGL Max was kind of an ass. Especially in that scene right before he went to college. Like, damn, he spent all that time. You could have waited 15 minutes and eaten a nice home-cooked breakfast. Edit. It's come to my attention that I'm currently talking about an extremely goofy movie. Op that I replied to is referring to a goofy movie. I actually had a similar occurrence to this today. My GF is moving out of her dad's house and in with me tomorrow, and tonight is her last night with him. I told her that she needed to go to dinner with him and spend the night hanging out with him because it's the last one in that chapter. Faramir. I always feel bad for him when I rewatch the Lord of the Rings trilogy for the umpteenth time, the extended edition to boot, which tells more of Faramir's story. Yes. I wish that. Cuts like a knife, man, it's horrible. If I should return, think better of me, Father. That will depend on the manner of your return. Duck that guy and his bloody tomatoes. Ah, thanks for reminding me of those tomatoes. Now they're etched into my memory again. Squashed between his teeth, like the bodies of the soldiers he sent to their deaths. Any citizen in the same city as a superhero. At some point that shit has to get old. Honey, an evil villain is going to release toxic gas at 5 p.m. if Pickleman doesn't surrender himself. Are the gas masks in the kitchen cabinet or in the RV? Edited to add, I legit pulled Pickleman out of my ass and didn't know it was a real thing. Sorry for the unintentional reference. God, can you imagine the car insurance rates? Your deductible doesn't cover being stepped on by the Hulk. This is the third time this year you've claimed your car was used as a projectile weapon by Superman. Maybe park in a different lot. Anyway, your rates are going up again. Not to mention 8-month waiting list for windshield replacements. Well, if Dr. Dune had announced this was going to happen, we could have stocked up. At one point, there was going to be a show kind of like The Office that took place at an insurance company that exists in a world of superheroes. Never came to pass, though. The Cabbage Cart Guy. It's all a ploy by the Lettuce Association of BA Sing SEI. There is no ploy. Would you like a vacation to lovely Lake Laogai? Butters, this poor kid is always manipulated by his friends and grounded for everything. Butters. You're grounded. That line always makes me laugh but also feel so bad for him. Hamburgers. When his mom pushes the car into the water with him still buckled and calls his dad his game. Butters, stop making that face. Oh, you are grounded, MR. But Dad. This is my real face. I always felt bad for poor old Edward Scissorhands. His pop died before giving him real hands, sad face. And then he became a sex target for countless rapey middle-aged women. John Coffey from the Green Mile. Him and Edward Delacroix too. The one who talked to mice, but the assbutt of a young guard thought it would be funny not to wet the sponge. Word. Klaus from the Umbrella Academy. Literally gets kidnapped and tortured for like 2 days without any of his siblings noticing. Also brought up seeing dead people, which would obviously screw up any child. Was locked in a cemetery for hours, etc. No one really cared about him and just saw him as this stoner and couldn't see the whole time he's basically calling out for help. Also Dave, sad face. Yeah, really felt for him when he started to finally control his power, only for the rest of them to not believe him. I think we've all felt the hopelessness of not being believed at some point in our lives. Jack's fried in Titanic. Imagine, you sneak onto a world-class cruise with your best friend in the whole world, only for him to completely ignore you for a mediocre girl, only for you to ducking dive when the ship sinks. All these years I've had countless rewatches and I never considered what happened to him. They show him getting crushed by one of the smokestacks IRC. Uncle Iroh. Compared to other fictional characters, he didn't go through that much. But damn, they make his pain feel so intense. Loses his son and then gets shamed for quitting because of it. Rickety Cricket. The episode he fell in love with the dog killed me. A little P to the C to the P. Doofenshmirtz. Dude got left for a whale. His parents didn't show up the day he was born. He could have probably financed the whole therapy industry himself with all that trauma. I present to you, the Trauminator. It's not really an invention, just an autobiography. I read that in his voice. Complete with dramatic music on Trauminator. All the clone troopers. I feel so bad for them. They were just used by the Republic and then just thrown away after the Clone Wars. Jesse Pinkman. Ah man, life just would not let him sort himself out. He wasn't really bad, just broken. The bit where he covered for his kid brother's drugs, I think that was the real Jesse. Like the episode in the Tweaker's house with the ATM, that one really showed me that Jesse just got caught up in shit that he wasn't meant to be in. In rewatching it for the 4th time and just saw this episode. When he tells the little boy to play peekaboo and cover his eyes breaks my heart. He should be running, but he wanted to shelter that kid as much as he could. Todd in the episode of Community where they divide into study groups. No offense. None taken. A single teardrop running down his face. Offense taken. Offense taken. What is wrong with you people? Your depression sucks. I was scrolling specifically for this comment. And I also remembered this, which makes me feel a little better. He had friends who liked and accepted just the way he was, and included him on all their adventures together. Everyone deserves friends like that. The squirrel in Ice Age. Pure fellow just wants his acorn. We were just watching this with my 5-year-old and my husband says he's some kind of squirrel rat. Oh my gosh, that's why his name's Scrat. And I just laughed because I never realized that either. Ice King from Adventure Time. All the man wants is someone to love. I mean, yes, he is going about it in the worst way possible, but still, all he has is his penguins. Edit, thanks for the awards. Sydney Prescott. She's had, what, 8 different serial killers after her? Pretty much everyone she's known or dated has been brutally murdered. And all because she did nothing. She did nothing to deserve a life of torment.